This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by George Groves here in Manchester. George, always a pleasure. It's a little bit after the weigh-in's just taken place. What did you make of both Beefy and Junior on the scales?
I thought they looked good, both of them. They both looked good. No one looked too tight of the weight, trying for them little subtle hints, But no, they both looked okay. They wasn't creeping, Smith looked like he's got plenty of energy, but his whole family here, decent crowd for him, so he was trying to vibe off that. But Eubank looked solid as well. There's a bit, I couldn't hear what they were saying, but there was a bit of back and forth. Still, I thought maybe Eubank wouldn't say nothing today because it's been tough for him to sort of come back because ultimately Smith can always end an argument with what happened last time. But it was good. It was good. I think both guys, they made the weight. There was rumours here earlier that they didn't need to make the weight. Well, they're gonna make the weight, but it's not a championship fight. But they did, and I think both guys look good.
Junior said on stage that he's going to try and make it a war. Do you expect him to go down that path?
I think so because he can't outbox Liam Smith. Liam Smith's got a better boxing sort of pedigree. Very talented amateur. Won senior ABA titles, boxed for his country, and he's been a wily old pro for a long time. So he's got them. He's a better boxer than Eubank. Eubank, I think, is going to have to roll back the clock a little bit. It's going to be about, his work rate, his engine, finishing the exchanges, sort of trying to impose his physicality on Smith. I think he looks a slightly bigger man. That's where he can and probably has to win the fight. But that's easier said than done. It's been a long time since Eubank sort of thrown 100 punches around, been busy, been aggressive. So that's why I feel like he has to maybe roll back the clock a little bit, go back to a former self.
If Junior was to lose again, obviously we know that the Conor Ben fight will always be there, but do you think that retirement question should be asked of himself?
We'll see how, if he loses and in what fashion, if his punch resistance is gone, and he sort of gets wiped out again, then I'd like to see him maybe call it a day. If that's not the case, and last time something went wrong for him in camp, or even just on the night, and that's why he got wiped out, and they're still fighting the dog, then certainly I don't like to retire any fighter if they feel they've still got something left to give. But for both guys, 35, 34 years of age, in the twilight of their career now, Eubank's a big name, so as long as it's not horrific for him Saturday night, there's probably still a fight out there for him, obviously the Conor Ben fight. And if Smith loses, he'll have to make a decision. I suppose it would all depend on how much money he's getting paid for tonight, if that sets him up, because he's a former world champion, he's ticked every box in his pro career. The last bit in the twilight is about making some cheddar, and if he's done well this time and there ain't another big opportunity, he might call it a day. But the likelihood is if Eubank wins, then we're going to see a third, aren't we? So there we go.
What is your prediction?
I'm not giving a prediction. I'm working for Sky, so I've alluded to how I think the fight might go, but I won't pick a prediction. I was stunned last time. When the fight was made, I thought that's a tough fight for Eubank. I thought there was easier options out there for him if he's just picking an opponent to try and make a pay-per-view. I didn't for one second think that Smith had the punch power to wipe Eubank out. Just raised a whole load of other questions. The questions usually go down the route of taking the win away from Smith, so you try and avoid them. But for me, Eubank was not right last time out. He certainly wasn't the Eubank that we'd seen from years gone by. But if that is what Eubank is now, as in fight game caught up with him, there we go.
Final one on it, George. Obviously yesterday and today I've asked Bomac about it, the towel comment, not taking the towel with him to the corner. Bomac said to me he'll let Junior go out on his shield. Just your thoughts on that?
You have to let fighters go out on their shield to a certain degree, but the referee's in there as well. It's not Liam Smith's responsibility to stop punching if he hurts someone, likewise the other way around. But you have to let fighters go out on their shield. I'm someone who's been stopped prematurely in a fight for a crazy reason. I've also been wiped out. I've also hurt people and they've never been the same again. And I'm still of the opinion that one punch too early rather than is never a good enough excuse. That said, I hope Bomac does have a towel and he's an experienced guy, and if he thinks that the fight needs to be stopped, then he should step in and stop. But sometimes you see trainers throw in the towel way too early, and you think, are you protecting yourself or are you protecting your fighter? Are you protecting your your reputation or not? And ultimately, it's one of the toughest decisions a trainer has to have. They have a personal relationship, or just even if it's just a professional relationship, to do the best by the guy they're taking care of in the ring. Fighters will always need to be saved, and I think that's the right mindset anyway. But also the referee's in there. He's the one who's close to the action, and he is ultimately the one who's in charge. The corner can throw the towel and the referee can give it back to him and say box on. So I hope Bomac does go to the corner with a towel, just in case. But I'm always of the opinion that fighters should be allowed to go out on their shield.
Final one, George. You came out yesterday that Errol Spence has invoked his rematch clause with Crawford. We don't know what weight that'll be up at. It's down to Terrence's own discretion what he wants to do, 147, 154. Do you have any interest in seeing that a second time around now?
I do. I think it was a conclusive win for Crawford. Showed just what an exceptional fighter he was. Spence was left wanting. Maybe if it's at a different weight, if Spence is really tight at the weight, that could make it a more interesting fight. But these guys have been exceptional talents for so long. That gives them the right to a rematch.
George, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Lovely. Cheers, man.